like to call the special call meeting for Tuesday, April 8th, 2014 to order. It's approximately 5:58 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Wallman.
Here.
Councilman Burgess.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Here.
Mayor Porter.
Here. Tab 1, Mr. Attorney.
Tab 1 is a waiver of fees for the use of Harris Field.
Your mic's off, Richard.
Waiver of fees for the use of the Harris Field Pavilion and Dick Connolly Soccer Field.
Any discussion, questions?
I have a question.
Ms. Waldman?
I can't recall right now, but is it under the CAL meeting that we're having the discussion about fees?
My understanding, and David, you could tell us if something, this was time sensitive, so.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This request came in very recently, Councilwoman, and the date for this event would be April 20th. So any waiver that you could actually vote on would have to be at a special call. Otherwise, it would be too late for the event to take place.
Ms. Waldman?
Well, there's no way that we can move because it has to be duly noted, right? No way we could talk about the other without, in other words, the cart before the horse. So
I'll defer to the attorney on that one because the time was set for the special call. So I don't know that we can move the discussion item from the cow up, but I'll defer to the learned attorney.
You could have, under this item, you could have a broader discussion about the waiver of fees if you like.
Well, there's going to be a phasing in period as we go through this process. And I don't believe this one issue is going to break the bank if because there's going to be some processes that in this transition. So I don't know that we want to bring that discussion into this right now. Let's just move. If there's a direction to go forward with this one, let it go, knowing that we've got a lot of other things that have got to be processed through that aren't as time sensitive necessarily. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, as far as the body of the council goes, my only concern with this particular item is that it's bringing in a facility that has yet to be utilized for waiver of fees. Before it's always been the Harris Field Pavilion, or it's been some of the smaller venues, and then this, to my knowledge, is the first time that we're bringing in one of our larger venue, which is the Dick Connolly football stadium. I know it's also going to be discussed at the CAL coming up later. And so my only concern about this particular item is opening that. Not only are we talking about cost issues, which we will discuss in the upcoming meeting, but now we're also talking about this particular venue, which in the past has not been open to waiver of fee issues. So once we vote on this, we're opening up another box. It's just we keep expanding the scope in which we're waiving things. So that's my concern with this particular item, not so much the cost of it. I just wanted to put that on the record before I vote. So.
Yes, sir. Ms. Waldman?
I had another question. Is this, I know the address is Homestead, Florida. It's a P.O. box number. Are they located in Homestead, Dennis? Do you know?
Councilwoman, I saw the letter when I was looking through the car. I wouldn't be able to answer that question. I know Pedro looked at their the 501c. I think they had the P.O. box number on it, so I didn't get an address.
Because I'm going to start taking, just so everybody knows, I'm going to start taking a stronger stance on this, because it just seems like every single every council meeting we have not only what we talk about from the dais, but these little blue envelopes are just full of requests. So I had said before that I was going to be very strict about it being a Homestead organization based in Homestead and a not-for-profit for me to consider. So could we Google it?
Is there anybody here?
Is there anybody here?
I can Google it.
Richard can do anything. He's going to Google it. Well, you check nonprofit status. Can we go?
I think you checked the nonprofit status.
Yeah, but wouldn't there be a registered? I know on my nonprofit, I'm listed.
Why don't you go into the news rack item, which will take some time. In the meantime, I'll see what.
Could we do that,
Okay.
Mayor?
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, we did notify all the waiver fees to come to the CAL meeting, so I don't know if they are here to talk. So I don't know if anybody's here to represent them. but we did notify all the people for waiver fees. They had to come, you know, if they wanted to come to the Cal. But I don't see anybody stepping up. I just want to mention that to you.
Okay, well,
Oh, we do have some. Mayor, I'm sorry.
you have to come to the microphone so we can hear you, please. And state your name and address for the record, and there's a little button that says push.
Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing today?
Let me ask you a question first. Are you, you're here for the waiver of fees for the soccer?
Not for the soccer. I'm here for a waiver fee, though, for the HIV and STD prevention program. That's in May also. I didn't know if...
This is judo
Ours is May 31st.
Okay, this is not you.
It's not me. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. No problem.
Apologize.
I apologize.
That's for the soccer on May 9th
No.
and 11th?
Judah Christian Center. Okay. So nobody's here. So, okay, we'll hold this one, go back, we'll come back to this special call item. So we'll go to item 2, which is the,
Second reading of the news rack ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 24, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places to establish Article 7, news racks within the right-of-way, providing for regulatory intent and purpose, providing for definitions, providing for location and placement, providing for maintenance, appearance, and installation standards, providing for permit and certificate of compliance requirements, standards, timeframes, and procedures, providing for insurance and indemnification requirements, providing for enforcement, providing for appeals, severability, inclusion in the code, conflicts, and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Joe, staff report.
Yes, sir. At the last council meeting, we had gone over an ordinance. Staff recommended approval. We were instructed to go back to the table with the interested parties in the community and see if we couldn't come to a better consensus on what the ordinance would be. We have done that. We are recommending approval of the ordinance in front of you. What we did since our last meeting was sit with the news leader, and we had 3 items of discussion. The first one was the type of news rack. The second one was what would the news rack look like, and the third one was the cost of the permit. We had specified a modular news rack. That type of news rack was mounted on a pedestal so it could be bolted into the ground. We have subsequently included in the ordinance the type of news rack that the news leader uses, which is a freestanding rack. So they're covered for what they need to get in there, get into for what they have. In the case, these can't always be bolted to the ground, so in the case that it needs to be removed, if it's disorganized or disheveled, or needs to be removed in case of a storm, we've added in there that something similar to the drop box ordinance that we had done last year, that we would notify the applicant, they would come out and remove their boxes and replace them back. We debated what the news rack could look like. We had specified before that all of the news racks would be a certain color, black, and they would have the name of the newspaper company on the side and the side of it in a certain font. We subsequently revised that to not specify a color or font on there, which gives the latitude for the news leader to use their racks, which have a wrap on them of images that are from Homestead and the surrounding area, and we're fine with that. We believe that we still prohibit advertising on it, but we don't feel that what they do is advertising. The third issue we have was the cost of the permit. This is the only issue I don't believe we have consensus on. We had spec'd $125 as the cost of a permit. We felt that was in line with what it would cost us to review the permit in terms of processing the application and 2 site visits. They had made a recommendation of significantly less. We felt that the compromise would be $50 per rack. I felt that was still less, more than half of what we felt it would cost us as a city, but we could deal with it. And so I'm going to stick my recommendation at the $50 per rack for debate. So that's where we are. We've included that in to the ordinance that should accomplish almost everything that we've set out to accomplish on this.
Questions? Vice Mayor?
I thank you for working with the news leader and trying to find some common ground. My only question on the fee issue is that I know the goal of having a fee is to make it more cost prohibitive so that if you're not actually out there engaged in some sort of legitimate purpose for a news rack or newsstand of some kind, that you're less likely to come in there and pay the fees, go through the process and register and all of that type of nature. But at the same time, I want to make sure that we don't prohibit the newspaper companies from being able to put out the information, because they don't really make a whole lot of money on the actual sale of the paper. Really, this is more of a public service, probably advertising for them with their name, and then they're allowing, make sure the public gets information about what's going on citywide and countywide. So have we looked into the idea of, I'd prefer to see maybe like a higher one-time fee. Maybe that would accomplish the same goal where it prohibits those that are not really serious about using these for the right purpose may say, look, $125 one-time fee. We're not going to bother with the hassle plus to register, put our name in public records, things of that nature, and then a lower per box fee thereafter would be something that I think would be maybe a little more fair, because you can come up with a one-time fee, and if you get enough boxes over time, you can spread that cost out versus, the $50 per box is almost cost prohibitive also. But that's just something to throw out there for discussion and debate with my colleagues.
It was proposed, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor. I just, because we're dealing with the First Amendment constitutional issue,
Right, I know.
I just want to be clear for the record that the intent was not to make this cost prohibitive, as that would be a First Amendment prior restraint on free speech. So it was meant to actually, and does actually, address the cost, the direct cost that your staff has with respect to the application, but not meant to be prohibitive to anyone seeking to exercise their First Amendment free speech right.
Okay. Acknowledged and heard.
It was proposed to have a one-time fee of $50 and a significantly less fee per box, either $5 or $10. I thought that in able to get close to recouping the cost that we would spend, I opted to recommend the $50, but ultimately it's...
Right. And I agree, the $50 I think one-time fee is too low. I think it should be more like $100 or so, or $125, something on the higher end to accomplish our goal of, well, anyways, what was discussed, versus the $50 each time. So however legally we need to discuss and talk about it, I understand it. But the realities are, those are the numbers that I'm thinking more comfortably with, higher on the front end, low on the per box end, something to that effect.
Mr. Burgess?
Thank you. My only comment to that is we'll still have companies coming in here that will come pay $50 and they'll come drop $5 off. So I think we'll still, that don't care, that aren't from our community, that don't care what our community looks like, and that's what the intent of this whole.
Right. I agree. That's why I think the $50 is too low. That's
Right.
why I think something
But
higher.
even $100 to a guy who's putting magazines in there and selling $20,000 worth of ads a week or whatever he's selling, and whatever they're supposedly putting in these boxes, I don't think is any kind of deterrent to them either. And we've also got to be responsible about how much money it does cost our staff to go out there and do it too. So I would go. Mr. Cordino and myself had had discussions, and I'm, that is a middle of the road amount, and so I will stick with Mr. Cordino's recommendation. And I also want to thank Mr. Cordino and Dale from the News Leader for coming together and having a meeting. And because when we started this whole thing 4 or 5 months ago, there was nobody that we were targeting, and I've expressed that to the News Leader many times. What I am targeting is the blight that's left on our streets, and the problems that come with these boxes that have been duly noted, whether it's people urinating in them or drug deals being placed in them, or whatever they're being used for, vandalism of throwing through windows or whatever. And that's my intent solely. But I do think we also have a responsibility to make sure that we cover some of the expense as we put these out there, to make sure. We can't put all the burden back onto the city. I understand that they're there, and they are good neighbors with the city, and they help the city with the newspapers, and they help people in the community. But we've also got a responsibility to the taxpayers that we're not putting all the burden back onto them too, for a for-profit corporation. And everybody that uses a paper box or whatever kind of distributing box you want to call it, is a for-profit organization. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Anything, Ms. Waldman?
Yes, I wanted to hear from Dale, from the News Leader, as that is our hometown paper. Are you okay with?
Wait just a second. What I wanted to do, let's all get our issues on, then we'll open up the public comment and bring Dale up and go through that. Is that okay? Is there any other things? Okay, so this is a public hearing. So anyone like to speak? This is a public hearing now. I'll open up the public hearing. Dale, you're at the microphone, please.
Is this thing on?
Now it is.
Dale McChesick, South Day News Leader, 205 Flagler. As it is, it was a productive meeting with Mr. Cordino's staff, and we agree in principle with everything in here, with the exception of the fee. We cited indicated that in nearby cities, Deerfield Beach, Tamarack, North Miami, they charge a $50 one-time fee and either $10 or $5 per box one-time fee. We think that's pretty reasonable. We support John's initiative to clean up the streets. So it's a matter of the fee. We would prefer Councilman Shelley's recommendation of a higher one-time fee for the company to register. We would support that, but then the lower per box fee is what we would ask for, if that's reasonable.
Ms. Waldman.
Is there any way that we can make the exception to have our hometown news leader, who's based in Homestead, addresses in Homestead, have that as the one-time higher fee, and then all the others who are outside of the city limits, which they all are, have them back to the $50 fee? Can't we put that in there as an exception, Richard?
Unfortunately,
James?
Unfortunately, we can't. We can't give a preference to that company and prefer their speech rights, which is essentially what this is, over someone else. So we don't have the ability to treat differently applicants for this permit.
I'm trying to find a way to take care of our local people, the people who support us and who are in our community and who have been here since, I don't even know how many years you've been here.
101.
101 years. And so I don't want to vote against it. I'm trying to find a way to make an exception for declare you a historical monument, and then we get James, any ideas, any suggestions, or?
Well, let me say one thing too, James. We have to be careful. There's only 4 people here. We're in a special call, and you know we're doing our best to make this work. And you know the fee is the only issue. I don't mean to interrupt you, Ms. Waldman.
No, it's fine.
But the fee is the only issue, and the question is, from a cost recovery. You got code officers out on the street all day long, every day, driving around doing their job. How do you justify saying that they're driving specifically to and from one box when they're already out doing that job? Would it be easier to do, as has been suggested, the entry fees, the process fees to getting these companies registered? Is it easier to do it a little higher on the front end and a little lower on the back end, as a question, just as a question?
When we structured the fees, we weren't including code. We were just really looking at the person who was going to permit it. So again, we thought that at about $65 an hour, they receive the permit, they process it, they go to the street once, make sure that the location is suitable for the box, they then approve it, and the paper goes and installs it, and then they go back out and check it. And we figured that was $125. I mean, again, I would suggest the way through this is a motion to set a higher fee, $125, and then the lower fee for the box if you're confused with or concerned with the fee structure. Because I don't believe, from our point of view, there's going to be a sufficient amount of boxes out there that we're going to bankrupt the city with a lower fee, and that's why we went down to 50. And I think that now we're dealing with whether it's $50 for every box or $125, and $5, $10 a box. I mean, the difference may be negligible, so we're open.
Right, the point is, we want to move this correctly, and we've got the news leader, we want to accommodate the news leader. We're down to dollars and cents, and this is not going to break the city. So let's find something from your staff that the council can, the four of us that are sitting here tonight that have to make this decision can agree on so that we can move this out of this special call.
I would recommend you did $125 per, for an entry fee and then $10 per box.
Okay. Mr. Machesik, any discussion on that from your aspect?
That's reasonable.
Mr. Burgess, I know it's not what you envisioned, but can you support it?
Everything I've envisioned has been ripped out of the bill, so you guys do whatever you want to do.
Okay, can you support this in its... Okay. It's a public hearing. Anyone from the public that wants to speak? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion for this ordinance with the amendment that with what you just suggested, which is the $125 entry fee, startup fee?
Initial application fee and $10
$10 per box thereafter.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion, but I also have a question, a further follow-up
Go ahead.
question.
Is there a second to the motion? Okay, question?
My question is this, is that the concerns raised by my colleague, Councilman Burgess, are valid as far as whether the fee that we're charging is going to accomplish the goal. And so the question is that if we determine after 6 months or a year that this is not being effective because the entry fee or the per box fee is in fact too low and maybe we need to reevaluate the cost factors involved, would that require then a two-reading amendment to this ordinance, or is there any way to insert language in here that would allow it to be said administratively to expedite those going forward and cause less hassle for us? I guess my question is, can we refer to the fee as an administrative fee and then we set it that way versus having to do an amendment to this ordinance every time we maybe have to raise the fee, or can it only be done by setting the exact number in here?
No, you can remove the specific language dealing with the dollar amount and simply say something along the lines of as set by the city council pursuant to resolution or by resolution.
Okay, which would only require one reading.
By
We
the
bring
city council.
So let's say that we try this out for 6 months, for a year or whatever, and it's not working, it's not accomplishing what we thought it might accomplish. And so then there would just be a resolution brought before us that says we're going to raise the fee to X. We would pass that done, and that goes into effect without having to redo the entire ordinance. Is that correct?
Correct. So you could remove the dollar amount here and just specify, fee as determined by the city council pursuant to resolution, and then that way you would just at your next meeting you could have a resolution which memorializes the $125 initial permit fee with $10 for each box, and that would be by resolution. And if in the future you wanted to only change the fees,
yes,
you could do it by resolution. It wouldn't require the notice and first and second reading that you would have to go through, or the hoops you'd have to jump with regards to amending the ordinance.
Okay, so then I would also like to make my motion part of that as well, to expedite this, so that if we need to modify that portion going forward, we have as much flexibility as possible.
So you don't want to include a fee here? You
Right,
can't do both. You can't include the $125.
No, correct. We're going to, yeah, so then swap it out so that it's by resolution, and so that way everything else is agreed to, everything else is fine, and then the next meeting we'll have the resolution brought forth. We'll set that fee, which we had discussed tonight, and at that point we have as much flexibility as we need going forward in the future. So, if that's okay with...
Understood.
I'm fine with
Can that be done by an amendment to the motion, Richard? Can that be done by an amendment? So you're making an amendment to omit the dollar value and do it through resolution?
That is correct, yeah, through
Okay.
a separate resolution.
Ms. Waldman, you okay with that?
I'm
as a
fine with
second?
that.
Okay. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess,
Yes.
Councilwoman Warman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Porter.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Mayor, could I make a statement?
Yes, sir. Mr. Burgess.
Several months ago, or maybe not even several, a couple months ago, we spoke about me taking the code back on and trying to work through these problems. But if I'm going to work with staff and spend many hours and much money with the attorneys and staff, the manager and everybody else, and then every time we bring a change up here, it gets ripped to pieces and it doesn't accomplish, then I'll give you back the task and you can give it to somebody else, because I'm not going to beat my head into a wall every time we try to bring a code change up here about signs or parking or anything like that. And I don't think staff should be beating their head into a wall to get torn apart in public either. So that's my comment.
And duly noted, but I would say that I think that this has been a respectful dialogue. I think that unfortunately, you've got 7 independent thinkers so at the end of the day, this is a specific issue we're dealing with our local news media. I would prefer that you not, but it's absolutely, I understand exactly where you're coming from. So duly noted, and we'll continue the discussion. So next one is tab 3, I believe, tab 3.
That was just an amendment to the ordinance. We need to adopt the ordinance as amended now.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. So is there a motion to adopt the ordinance as amended? Moved and seconded.
Second.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Wallman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Tab 3. Mr. Attorney.
The resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, urging the South Florida Water Management District and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to fully implement and operate modified waters delivery project and the C-111 project to end flood impacts to agricultural properties in southern Miami-Dade County caused by water management activities, providing for implementation and an effective date.
This was brought to me by James Humble. This resolution basically pushes or asks for the Water Management District to follow through with what was originally proposed. And this is just a support resolution. It's been through the attorney. I think I'll yield to the Vice Mayor. I know you've had some work on this as well. If you have any comments, pro or not, or con.
No, I just when I saw it, my only concern was just making sure that it didn't modify the existing modified waters delivery plan, which it does not. It supports what was agreed and negotiated between all parties that are at the table, which means it helps both from the environmental standpoint, the Everglades restoration, as well as the farming community and agricultural community. So I'm okay with that.
Basically, the farming community is being flooded by diverted water and/or retention of water. So that's basically what this resolution is in support of. So, are there any questions from council on this resolution? This is a public hearing. Anyone from the public? I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments? Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Williams?
I just cleared my throat.
Councilwoman Wallman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Tab 4.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, supporting the will of the people and their vote for the Pets Trust, providing for implementation and an effective date.
This is, we'll have a report. If there's not any questions from council right now, I've got someone from the Pets Trust here that can explain a little bit about this discussion item, this resolution. Okay, so I'll open up the public
That's
hearing.
the name of it, supporting the will of the people?
No, the Pets Trust is supporting the will of the people. There was a straw poll that was voted on. Over 500,000 people voted in favor of levying a small tax on themselves to address the animal overpopulation and spay and neutering. So this is a resolution in support of them asking the county commission to follow through with what the public's will was in the vote. So,
Okay.
Michael, would you like to step to the microphone?
My name is Michael Rosenberg. I'm the president and founder of the Pets Trust. You may have seen me living in a cage about a year ago before the vote for the Pets Trust. When I believe in doing something, I believe in doing it all the way. When I learned that we were killing 20,000 animals a year in Dade County, that it had been going on for decades and decades, I thought, if we don't do something about it, it's going to continue to go on for decades. So, from one person with one idea to my co-founder, Rita Schwartz, to 15 committee members, to on Election Day, over 1,500 volunteers handing out flyers talking about the Pets Trust. It's one of the biggest grassroots movements, elections in the history of Dade County. More people voted to save animals and pay a little bit to do it than actually voted for President Obama. It was the fourth most highest thing sought out on the ballot when people went to vote. And we were told that we need $2 million to win this election, and we only raised $60,000, and we won by 250,000 votes. You should feel pretty good, right? Democracy at work. We, the people, did exactly what it says we're supposed to do. We had a great idea. We went to the people. We educated the community, and they said, you know what? Let's do it. So why am I here in Homestead today? First of all, what we're asking you to pass basically says democracy should count in Dade County. That's what we're here for. But, and this is going to be the first city that hopefully will do it. Tomorrow, a couple other cities are going to do it. But I really wanted Homestead to be first, because the problem here in Homestead is probably worse than any place in the county. This is my phone. In this phone, I have pictures of dead animals, tortured animals on the sides of the streets here in Homestead. I love pictures. That's how I get things done. These pictures are so bad, I haven't even shown them to anybody yet. It's Homestead. The Humane Society has declared Homestead one of the worst places in our state. Well, I think the community did the right thing. They voted, I'll pay a little more, it's an average of $15 per homeowner, and we'll stop killing animals. It's $300 to kill them. By the time you bring them in the shelter, take care of them a little bit, 5 days later and you kill them. It's $65 to spay and neuter. Our plan was a brilliant plan. The community got it. They voted on it. The commissioner said, yeah, go do it. See if you can pull it off. And they said, we'll lose. That people in Dade County would not vote to raise their property taxes to save animals. They said, you will lose. 13 commissioners and one mayor told us that we would lose. I think they were shocked that we won. I think they were shocked that we won by so much. Then they didn't know what to do. So what'd they do? Even the person that sponsored the Pets Trust, who is from this community, who has a hotel here, even that person that sponsored it voted no when it came time to honor the will of the people. So we are here because we've already done the job of getting the community to do this. Now, we have to come back and go to every city in Dade County and say, you as our elected officials, would you send that message downtown that the will of the people should count in America? And that's what we're asking, and that's why I'm here, and that's why you're the first city, because it needs to come from here first. I think it makes a very strong case to come from here, and I hope you'll vote for it. Thank you.
Yeah, one other thing I'd just like to clarify. Homestead, the city limits of Homestead is not necessarily all the problem. The geographical area of Homestead exists into the Redlands. It exists to the north. So, you know, a blanket statement that and I'm just clarifying, because a lot of people talk about Homestead's the worst place for animal issues. They think of Homestead more of a region than they do a city limit. So I agree, Homestead, South Dade is a huge problem for, you know, animal dumping, abandonment. And this is just basically encouraging the commission to take another look at this, you know, because it's a real problem. We're getting the brunt of this. So anyway, Ms. Waldman, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I just want to say, sign me up. Because I fought for this. I campaigned for you without you. I mean, I don't think we've ever had a conversation. But I can tell you that as a wife of a retired veterinarian, just today, I found a kitty at City Hall, and I've named her Allison Georgina Davina Weiss. So I've taken yes, so nobody can tell me I can't do it. So just today, Merv delivered a big old bag of cat food, and because I can't take her anywhere because she'll be killed. And I just found her. I just found her the last day or two, and I'm trying to get her to warm up to me so I can cage her and take her somewhere that I know will be. We reached out to John Burgess's wife today, and I mean, so you sign me up. If I need to write letters to every city And
Thank you.
I know a lot of people in government in Dade County, and I'm your biggest advocate.
I've discovered we've had the most beautiful people here in Dade County. It's just 8 commissioners and a mayor don't get it.
And
we
you
need to
made
give
me
them the message.
cry when you were in that cage. I watched you on television, and
Thank you.
you were just absolutely so dedicated, and it's people like you that just make
Thank
the
you.
world a better place.
Thank you, thank you.
Any final comments? Mr. Burgess?
No, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Rosenberg. As somebody who, my wife is a strong advocate for this same type thing as here in town, and we live it and breathe it every day. The amount of calls that we receive, or she receives, and the amount of emails and the amount of people pleading for help is unbelievable. And I think it would astonish some people to see the amount of emails that they receive every day with a found dog, and not necessarily, like the mayor said, from exactly within the city limits of Homestead, but people from this region that are looking to help, because nobody wants to do what the worst answer is to call animal control, and unfortunately, they've only got so many spots up there to do things where they're at, and the program that they have is how it's run now. And what we need to do is follow the vote of the people and educate our community and move to a much better type shelter up there, a no-kill shelter. And I'm all for it, Michael. I sat in a cage with you up there for a few minutes when you were up there, and I certainly do appreciate your strong will and fight that you have inside to continue the battle against people that didn't listen to the will of the people. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? Is there a motion? There's moved and seconded. Any final comments? Thank you, Michael. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Wallman,
Yes, big yes.
Councilman Burgess,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Porter.
Yes.
The motion carries.
I want to thank the council for indulgence on the 2 resolutions and a special call, but these were fairly time sensitive. Obviously, we wanted to be the first city to come out and support, and the water issue was a significant challenge to the farming community, so I appreciate your indulgence there.
Do you want to, Mayor? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Can I just ask Dennis and David and Richard? They
Go
were
ahead.
This is on the
here.
waiver of fees issue that
Okay, so
we
we're
had
going back to
deferred.
item number 1.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, with the research we found, the church's address is 17021 South Dixie Highway, Miami, Florida. The pastor and the assistant pastor live outside of Homestead. The secretary for the church does live in Waterstone.
What's the name of the church again?
Judah Christian. We're on tab 1,
Right.
Councilman.
Jude, you say what now?
Judah, Judah.
Oh, okay.
Mayor Porter,
Ms. Waldman, I'm sorry.
based on the information, 17021 South Dixie Highway, right? That's not Homestead. Based on the information that we were able to discover, I can't vote in favor of waiving these fees. We've got to stop it somewhere, and you know, Jimmy, Councilman calling you Councilman Waldman.
Yeah.
I guess he's part of it.
Yes, Councilman Williams.
It's closer than you think. But we had talked about it before you came in, that, you know, I have to draw a line somewhere, and I'm trying to center it to Homestead churches, Homestead nonprofits, Homestead residents, rather than outside the box. So I would have to deny this if it comes to a vote.
Okay, well, this obviously was, you know, brought to staff as a time-sensitive issue. Their only recourse is to bring it to us for open discussion, and here we are. And I agree with what's being said. We're still trying to figure this out. There's nothing that says we have to approve this because it's time-sensitive. So if someone wants to make a motion to deny, or if someone wants to make a motion to approve, and then we'll talk about it.
Oh, okay. After the motion?
I'll make a motion to deny.
Motion for denial. Is there a second for denial?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Williams?
I see that the letter in here is stated to Councilwoman McCormick. Is this, could this be some, well, she's not here, but could it be an organization that they contacted through her office?
Councilman Williams, yes, this did come from, well, the church sent it to us, but it did come from Councilwoman Faircloth.
And she gave consent on this organization?
I think what was given to the church was that they needed to put a request through Parks and Rec, and that's what they did, is send us the letter.
Is the church here?
No, sir, when we last asked, no.
Oh, well.
Councilman, they were advised that it would be on the agenda tonight, though.
They're not here. Yeah, that's not good.
Well,
Ask for some and not be here.
Yeah. Well, the struggle is still the struggle. You know, this is one that's come up in a kind of a fast track method.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ms. Faircloth is not here. The applicant is not here. It's hard to justify this application. There's a motion for denial. It's going to just be, we're just going to have to vote on it. So is there any final discussions? Mr. Williams, you okay?
No, I'm fine.
Ms. Wallman?
If I could just say that, you know, I get so many requests that come across my desk, and since we don't have policy in place, we have to put it before the council.
Oh,
So I'm not trying to speak
Oh, I agree.
for Councilwoman Faircloth, but I'm just saying that there are things that, you know, I have to put before council that may not mean that I'm
Right.
favor of that.
Right, no, I understand.
Okay, if there's no, is there any other discussion, Mr. Burgess, Mr.? No. Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, for denial.
Councilwoman Wallman,
Yes, for denial.
Councilman Burgess,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Porter.
Yes.
The motion carries.
That concludes this. So is there a motion to adjourn the special call?
Move it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye. If I could just say, we have cookies over here for Relay for Life. I'm advertising. I baked them. They're oatmeal raisin and they're chocolate chip and they're what are they, Elizabeth? $2. $2 a bag. So it all goes to Relay for Life. My best customers are sitting to my left.